Well. All of these current events, craziness that's going on right now. I wanted to come on for a few minutes. Hey there, hey everybody, to talk about um, the rumblings of war and what this could mean for your business. Because we know that what's happened this weekend. Hey there, how you doing, Yvette? Um, we don't have a good track record, y'all, of having a one-time strike that just ends up being a one-time strike in situations similar to this. And so I want you to be prepared right now for what may be on the horizon and think about what you need to do in this moment to prepare your business for the worst case scenario in case this becomes a more protracted engagement, aka a full-blown war, or additional occurrences after this initial one that may have trickle down effects on the economy and other things. All right. So, with that said, let me get going. Hey, you guys, welcome here tonight. I do want to say it is a wonderful Sunday evening. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Before I get started, I do want to make an announcement at the very beginning. My name is Dr. Avis, and I'm super excited to be holding a 3-day Power Pivot Intensive coming up on Tuesday. It starts on Tuesday. And it's really for any of you who are in the service economy. So specifically coaches and consultants, specifically those in the DEI space that have found your entire industry, for lack of a better term, virtually eliminated. For any of those who have been impacted by all of the job just closings and layoffs and firings that's been happening in the federal government and beyond, and you know you need to pivot to a situation where you can now be in control of your own economy. If any of that is you, then I want you to join me for the Power Pivot Intensive. You can go right now to powerpivotintensive.com, lock down your spot. It's totally complimentary, and see me there starting on Monday. Okay. So, sorry, starting on Tuesday, not tomorrow, on Tuesday. So, with that said, my commercial is out of the way. Let me specifically focus on the purpose of this live, and that is centering your business around everything that's happening right now and current events. Like, what does this potential war mean for your business? How can you prepare for it now? All right. Now, the first thing I want to say is that, first of all, if your business has anything to do, good evening, Wendell. Good to see you. Hey, Maurice. If your business has anything to do with the defense industry, you're in the money. Okay. So it's actually a good thing for you. Okay. So anywhere in which you might be related to defense contractors, having contracts with the Department of Defense, any of those things, and this would actually be a good time for you. Okay. So I don't have anything but to tell you, go get more money. Okay. But if you don't happen to be in that space, here are some things I want you to keep in mind. Okay. Number one, this will then inject a whole new level of uncertainty into the economy in many ways. All right. You know that we've been struggling with uncertainty in the economy for a minute, especially with this very chaotic administration. We've also been dealing with a slowdown of the economy for a minute. And so all of that has happened even before Beelzebub decided to do what he decided to do this weekend. However, if this moves beyond this one-time strike, and I hate to project this, Lord, I hope this doesn't happen. I hope none of it, I hope it doesn't expand. It'd just be bad anyway that it could happen. But other things could happen in many different ways, right? Things could happen on these shores in this country. Things could happen overseas. But no matter what might happen after this, as a retort to yesterday's attack, know that this may indeed inject more uncertainty into the economy. And with more uncertainty comes slower buying habits, okay? People and organizations begin to hold on to money. What up? My Jamaican buddy is back. Hey there. Big up to Jamaica as well. So be on notice that this might lead to more market dips. And it might lead to situations where more and more companies and individuals might start making decisions where they are really focused on leaning more into what they perceive as essentials in terms of their buying habits versus luxuries in terms of their buying habits. So keep that in mind that this might lead to budget cuts when we're talking about organizations and a strong focus on essentials. Similarly, with individuals, it may just mean a slower buying cycle, even more slow than it is now. And once again, a focus that's more on essential versus a focus that is on luxury. All right. Um, in addition to all that, it may in fact lead to, in some situation, if the economy slows down even more, issues related to payment delays. So this is a time when you want to start to think about ways in which you can work with your clients and your customers if need be. Are there some renegotiations or different arrangements that you need to make in terms of payments? How can you provide for them extended payment plans on the one hand, or maybe you might even consider worst case scenario, providing them some sort of discount if they just pay off their bill in full in advance. So for example, if they have a longer contract with you and you need either a cash infusion or you want a cash infusion or you're concerned about them being able to continue to pay, why not offer them some level of a discount if they pay you the balance immediately? Okay. So that's another way to get more money in and not have to worry about potential payment delays in the future. Okay. No, though, this might also, though, on the good side, provide more opportunities for crisis management. And so think about if your business, particularly this is really good for consultants, maybe this is an additional offer that you can add on to what you do. Like, how can you help organizations navigate uncertainty in this moment? Think about that as a way in which you can provide counsel and support during an uncertain moment. Okay, so think about if crisis management might be a good space for you to start to look to in terms of potential new contractual opportunities. All right. Next, in terms of immediate actions you need to take right now to prepare, immediate actions you need to take right now. Number one, protect the cash flow. Somebody put in the comments for me, protect the money at all costs. Okay. Protect the money. Okay. And so what do I mean about that? Similar to what I said before, but in a different way. See what you can do about accelerating collections. If you are in a period right now where you do have folk who are behind in payments, once again, what can you do to incentivize them making progress towards solidifying or bringing full circle, right? What they owe, right? Can you develop different payment arrangements for them? Can you give them a discount if they pay up front? Are there more things that you need to do just to accelerate your collections, period? This might also be a period when, if you are someone who offers payment plans with what you do, and this is typically more, let me say, if you offer payment plans as a B2C business, this might be a time where you might want to consider, if you haven't already, leaning into services like Klarna and Afterpay for sales, rather than only focusing on providing payment plans financed through your own company. Okay. Because that way you're going to get the bulk of the payments up front minus the fee, obviously, that Klarna or Afterpay will charge, but then they would have to worry about following up with them and getting the payments, and you don't necessarily, and you won't. Okay. You'll get the money up front with a little bit of a discount given their fee, right? On the other hand, if you are someone who works with organizations and you are a consultant, you might also want to think about thinking about how can you not only incentivize payments, but this might be a good, particularly if you have an organization that you feel like is good. You might want to think about it two ways strategically. Do you want to really focus on having some continuous monthly recurring revenue, sort of like with them? Is there some sort of retainer agreement that you want to have, or several retainer agreements that you want to have in place with companies that have solid backgrounds in terms of really being able to bring to be good with those arrangements, right? So that will give you a sense of revenue certainty moving forward, even if this is a crazy sort of uncertain time. Think about, how can I create arrangements and agreements with companies that I'm working with where I'm getting a certain guaranteed floor in terms of monthly recurring revenue. Maybe there is additional work you can do. Like if you're going to have some sort of retainer agreement, you definitely want to be able to have in there some limit to the hours that you are devoting. And if you go over those hours, you can charge more. But just know that if you have a set, like I will get, $10,000 a month for 30 hours of work, and you have that arrangement, then from that company, that is a monthly recurring revenue that you can rely on for the period of time of that contract. Think about how you can create more opportunities like that in your life. Once again, to have more revenue certainty, to protect the cash, and to accelerate your cash that you're going to really need to have on hand. The main sort of recurring theme I want you to hear right now, this is a time in which you really, really, really want to grow your cash collection in every way, shape, or form, okay? Similarly, next, I want you to think about, how can you diversify your revenue streams? How can you diversify your revenue streams, okay? I would not want you to rely just on one source of revenue in this moment. So, and that might mean that could look a couple of different ways. If you're a consultant, we definitely don't want you to be to live or die based on that one major client that you have. Okay. You need additional clients so that if anything happens with that revenue stream, you have others. And I would love it if you can have clients or revenue coming in from different areas, different directions. So for example, it may look like having some corporate clients. It may look like having some nonprofit clients. It may look like having something that is B2C in your pocket. Think about, how can you get multiple sources of revenue coming into your business right now? You want money coming in from every direction to help to be able to provide a deeper sense of security in case there is any blip or disruption in any one of those areas. All right. For my B2C folk, I do want you to focus on growing one thing aggressively, but definitely think about what other offers can you have on the table so that you can bring in sources of revenue from various different areas, and at various different price points in your company. All right. We can talk more about that in the Power Pivot Intensive. But right now, no, don't be satisfied with just one thing. You want money coming in from all sorts of areas so that you have a greater chance at having revenue certainty. You do not want to live or die with one contract or with one offer in this moment in particular. Okay. Once again, we're going to get into that a little bit more deeply during the Power Pivot Intensive, but that right there, I'm going to underline, highlight, circle that point because that's very, very important. Next, increase sales activity. Duh. Okay. Let me just say, this is a moment in which it's almost like, somebody it's a starting gun, because who knows what's going to happen next with what just happened over the weekend. There was a lot of uncertainty in the air. We could cut on the TV tomorrow and all hell could have broken loose. Or it might be a couple of weeks or a couple of months before that happens. The bottom line is, I want you to get very, very serious now about thinking about, what are the various different ways that I can increase my sales activity right now? Not next week, not next month, not next year, obviously, like now. How can you accelerate your sales activity? I had, this is something, for example, that I focus on regularly in my membership. The Revolutionary Vanguard. I do trainings every Monday. It's not a training, it's a co-working session, but that starts with a little mini training around sales. We're in like a sales sprint right now. And so we just had a session last Monday. We do this weekly on Mondays around this. And just saw in our group the other day how one of our clients has now gotten had a very successful sale come through, where they're at the the person has already said yes, and now they're just negotiating numbers, and she's at a very, very high end. So I want you to understand that people are buying right now, but they're not buying if you don't open up your mouth to have those sales conversations. If you're not doing what you need to do to build and nurture those relationships, if you're not getting your calendar stacked with opportunities to be able to talk with people about opportunities. Okay. So whatever you're doing right now with sales, I want you to do everything that you can to at least 2x it, 4x it, 10x it. Whatever you're doing right now to get sales, do more of it. Okay. Because it relates to what I said at the beginning. If people are making slower buying decisions and it's only going to be that much slower in an uncertain wartime, then you have to have more opportunities in front of you in order for you to get more actual sales. Okay. So, in more certain times and a better economy, maybe you were in a situation where every 4 bites of the apple that you got, somebody said yes. In a moment like this, it might take 12 bites at the apple for somebody to say yes. I hate to say it, but I'm just being real with you. So at least saying yes right now, just because people are making more slower buying decisions. And so as people are getting to the point where they are feeling comfortable to say yes, you just need to make sure you have a whole lot more people in the pool to talk to in some way, shape, or form, one-on-one or one-to-many. Point is, increase your sales activity now. Now is your 2x, your 4x, or 10x season when it comes to sales. Okay, who's with me on that? Okay, more. Whatever you're doing, double it at least. Okay. Now, in addition to that, I want you to think about expenses. We've talked about bringing more money in. Okay. Now I want you to think about the other side of the coin, expenses. What can you do right now with expenses as you're looking to bring more money in to increase your profitability in this moment? Because you really need to be able to protect the profits right now. Okay. Protect the profits. So I want you to take a look at the service providers that you use, the software that you use, everything from the sales service the cell phone service that you use to the payment processor fees that you use. Like all of those things right now, go back and look at them and see what you can negotiate and bring down lower. See where you might have duplicative software and streamline. Okay. Now is the time where you want to bring those expenses down as low as possible to prepare for the unknown, because you don't want just at this moment, you don't want to be paying for stuff. You never want to pay for stuff you don't need to pay for, but especially right now, I want you to be very careful with how you are spending the money so that you're able to make larger profits with every sale that you make. Okay. It's especially important that you do that now. Now, in addition to looking at things, I want you to also look at people. All right. Hear me on this. If you are a business that has contractors or employees, I want to make sure you need to make sure in this moment, especially, that you are getting the bang for the buck that you are putting out for those contractors and employees. I am talking to each and every one of you, okay, right now, who have people working for you. And here I'm going to say this with as much transparency and honesty as I possibly can, because nobody thinks about this from the employer side of the equation. In moments like this, especially when all sorts of ridiculousness is happening in terms of the federal government, in terms of unjust firings, that's one thing. But when we're talking about your situation as a small business owner, I want you to understand your first and ultimate priority each and every day is to make sure that your business stays in business. Please, somebody write that in the chat for me. My ultimate priority is to make sure my business stays in business. So we've already talked about some things that you need to do, especially right now, to make sure that your business stays in business. You need to at least double your sales activity, whatever you're doing there. You need to see what you can do in terms of reducing these other expenses that we talked about, right? But in addition to that, if you have contractors, if you have employees, I need you to ask yourself the hard questions. Are they contributing to my business at least as much as that they are taking out with salary? Boom. In some instances, that may not mean a direct a dollar per dollar amount, Okay. But are they contributing to your business in terms of helping take things off your plate so that you can do more in terms of bringing revenue in? Are they doing that at such an level that it's worth you paying them? Are they servicing your clients so that you can bring in more? Okay. If they are, then yes. Okay. But are they making sales that more than covers what you're paying in? Then it's a yes. But if all of those answers, if you can't say yes to any of those scenarios, then you need to get very honest with yourself and have the tough conversation that I guarantee you, some of you that are listening to me right now are avoiding. Did I hurt somebody's feelings? I'm serious here. This is the part of entrepreneurship that is not pretty, that a lot of people don't talk about, because you are human. You grow to have relationships with people. You grow to form friendships with people. You know their families. You know all of that. You don't want to hurt them. But at the end of the day, if the math ain't mathing, they got to go. So make a courageous decision and do what you have to do so that your business can stay in business. And do not wait too late to do it so that they're taking your business down on the way out. Okay? I'm saying that from the heart. All right. So next thing, we have talked about all of these. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Next time I'm doing this thing and oh, there we go. Whoops. That's not it. So, what is going on? My bad. Having this thing on iPad, and that was not a good idea because, okay, there we go. I went away for a minute. Okay. So now we've talked about those expenses. Now let's talk about what we can do to strengthen the relationships with the clients that you already have. Okay. Here's what I want you to understand, that in this moment of uncertainty, as I mentioned before, clients are going to be sometimes a little bit nervous, as everybody else is, about the current situation. You need to do a couple of things to make sure that you are strengthening the relationships with the clients that you already have while you're already also trying to get new clients by selling more, right? So that means you need to over communicate your value with your current clients so they can remember why it's important that they keep you, okay? Over communicate with your clients, over communicate, be there with them, touch them, find out what's going on with them right now. Let them know what you're working on and how that's helped them, and remind them about how far they've come since they've worked with you. Have some conversations with what they're going through now. Maybe they need to do some additional things with you. Okay. Maybe this is a time for an upsell or a cross sell, right? But the bottom line, at least increase your level of communication with them so they can have a better sense of how you are a good value and you are an essential and not a luxury in this moment. Okay. Make sure they are aware of that. Okay. Other things I want you to remember, when you are reaching out to your clients, position yourself as that deep advisor in this moment. In this moment of uncertainty, lean into your area of expertise and show them that you are someone that can help them navigate this crisis. So lean into your position as their deep advisor, not merely a service provider. I want your relationship with them in this moment to feel deeper than just another service provider. You need to be someone that is a trusted advisor that can help them properly navigate the uncertainty and the storm that we are facing in the midst of this yet another and potentially even bigger crisis than what we faced already this year. Okay. All right. Last set of suggestions that I want to give you is around how to position your business for success in this moment. Okay. Wendell, I hear you. Now, this is the good news part about how you can take this crisis and create opportunities from it. Okay. I do want to say this right now from the heart. This is the moment. If you know that this is the moment that you need to expand your business into new territory, if this is the moment that you know you need to do more or provide more offers or have a wider array of things that you provide potential customers in your business, or if you know that you need a new business altogether in this moment, or if you're someone who's switching from employment to entrepreneurship because you know you need to have some way of bringing in your own money in this moment outside of any job, even if your initial plan as an entrepreneur is to have it as an additional source of revenue, quote unquote, a side hustle. I want you to know, do it now. Now is the moment to execute on the pivot that you need to make. Not, once again, not next month, not next year, now. And when I say now, I mean now. This summer provides an amazing window of opportunity for you to get off the ground with your pivot such that in the fall, you're ready to run. Okay? So now's the time to figure out, what should that pivot look like? How do you create a successful land runway so that you can launch effectively? All right. And what do you need to do in that next stage? All right. We'll be going through all of that in the Power Pivot Intensive. So make sure you're there. Once again, if you have not signed up, go to powerpivotintensive.com, sign up for it right now. Okay. But if you know that this is your season to shift into something new, do not procrastinate. Take advantage of this time in the summertime when some places may be having a little bit of a lull. But I will definitely say that if you are a consultant, we know that oftentimes corporations are making their budgets for the following year towards the end of the summer. So now is your time to position yourself for those budgets. Do it now. Okay, do it now. All right. So do it now. Okay. All right. With that said, this is also a good time for you to really elevate your visibility. Okay. Your visibility must accelerate greatly during times of volatility. Okay. When volatility goes up, I want your visibility to go up. You know why? Because in those moments, people are looking for leadership. People are looking for someone with a calm hand and a clear mind and good strategy and direction with clarity, someone that can break through the chaos and make them see that there is a way forward. And why not you? So I want you to double down on your marketing in this moment, on your personal branding in this moment, on your thought leadership establishment in this moment. This is the time for you to really go out there and be seen, be heard, be visible, and be impactful. This is the time for you to really work on magnifying your authority in your field of expertise or wherever you want to land if you're looking to pivot. This is the part that's really critical. We're going to be going over that a lot during the Power Pivot Intensive, because you have to start to lay the groundwork for you as being a thought leader in the new space before you officially launch in the new space. I know it sounds funny, but trust and believe, I'll explain that. This is part of the runway process to make sure that you're able to get your clients more quickly in a new space if you're pivoting. You have to provide some evidence that you know what you're doing there before you're looking to make money there. Does that make sense, guys? So all of this is important, and especially important right now, because in this time of volatility, chaos, uncertainty, the world is looking for leaders. Absolutely, Juliet. Absolutely. Okay. So position yourself then as that steady voice, as that leader in your space, as that person who is the place of reason. All right. Also, finally, this is a moment where you might want to identify some strategic partnerships. Where can you connect with other individuals, other businesses that are complementary to what you do, and you all can help one another? You can get in front of their audience. They can get in front of your audience. Maybe there are joint offerings that you guys can provide. Now is the time for partnerships, collaborations, strategic sponsorships, like all of those things, so that this needs to be a season where everybody wins. You don't have to do it all alone. In fact, it's best that you don't, right? So all of these things are critical. I hope that this gave you a few tips and tools that you can keep in mind about things that you need to do right now. If everything continues to go downhill, but even if it doesn't, I do want to say that all of the tips that I've given you tonight will be good for your business, right? It's going to be good for your business to go out there and make sure that, you are top of mind in terms of your potential clients, that you have shored up your authority in your space, to go out there and make sure that you are doing everything that you can do to get to the money, collect the cash, right? Making sure that you're getting the payments that you deserve, doing everything that you can to make sure that you are minimizing expenses, and having people on your team that are actually contributing to your team. Like, all of those things and more are absolutely essential in all times, but they are especially essential right now. Because in this crazy moment, you cannot afford to be overpaying for anything. You cannot afford to not be selling enough. You cannot afford just to sort of blend in and not have anybody know who you are, or not be seen as a leader in your space. Like, there is no longer any wiggle room for that. So right now, I want you to take this moment to make these shifts in your business such that even if the worst happens, your business will be okay. And as I said at the beginning, if you know this is a time in which you need to add new offerings to what you're doing, I consider that a bit of a pivot, because you're going to go in directions that you haven't had before. If that is true, then you need to join me for the Power Pivot Intensive. If you're someone who said, you know what, I really decided I want to do something completely new. I want to go into a completely different industry. I want to have a new business that I want to sort of start and get off the ground quickly, then you definitely need to join me for the Power Pivot Intensive. Or maybe you're someone who has been impacted by all of the massive firings and layoffs at the federal level and at the corporate level. Maybe you know that you cannot rely on a job as your safe space anymore, and you need to rely on yourself to be able to bring in money for yourself. If that is you, then you really need to join me for the Power Pivot Intensive. We kick off on Tuesday. You go to powerpivotintensive.com, lock down your spot, and I will see you there, because I'm telling you, every day, I always feel like this year has been crazy, full of just injustice after injustice after injustice, just horrible things. And then to put a cherry on top, unfortunately, it looks like we might be on the verge of war. And I want to make sure that with all the other challenges that your business is facing in this moment, I don't want this to be yet another one. It's time to get ahead of the confusion. It's time to get ahead of the uncertainty. It's time to get ahead of the chaos. It's time to get ahead of the craziness and take control of your future. And if that involves a pivot, then I look forward to seeing you next week. All right, everybody. I hope this was helpful. Already registered. Great to see that. Oh, hey, Shashida. Is that Shashida? And congratulations on your sale, my dear. I'm hoping that you're going to go ahead and knock it out the park, okay? In terms of locking down the number. The number that you guys are going to arrive on. With that said, you all, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and I will see y'all later. Congratulations to all you guys that are in already. And for those who haven't, go ahead and grab your spot. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody. Take care.